Hi, welcome to a special edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Who's that on my shirt? That's right. New York time in about 3 hours, Mick Jagger is going to turn 80 years old. Can you believe that? Well, I can't believe that. Mick Jagger, the greatest frontman in the history of rock and roll, but so much more. He's the definitive rock star for decades. And now it's kind of easy to take him for granted. His profile got much lower. Keith Richards has risen over the years. But Mick Jagger, make no mistake, was the biggest rock star in the world for decades. Not only is he the greatest frontman, he is an amazing businessman. He took the Rolling Stones from a hugely successful band and completely changed the industry. Pretty much single-handedly, running the Rolling Stones business. And that's not something to be taken lightly. He's done an incredible job. And the other Stones, Keith Richards, they should be bowing at Mick's feet for making them as successful as they are. More importantly, Mick Jagger is one of the greatest songwriters in the history of rock and roll. And you know that from the Rolling Stones discography, in my opinion, the greatest body of music ever done by any rock and roll band. But what's been sorely misunderstood and overlooked is Mick Jagger's solo career. And I'm a big fan of it. It doesn't sound like the Rolling Stones, and it just always annoyed me that people criticize it because it's not supposed to sound like the Rolling Stones, and that's why he wanted to do solo stuff. Now, I already did a 30-minute video 2 years ago, and you can check it out if you go to the Alan Rosenberg Show, go under Artist Discographies. There is a whole 30-minute video on Mick Jagger's solo career. Now, he's only got 4 studio records, and there's a very best of album as well. But I have 43 Mick Jagger albums, including 12 inches, imports, bootlegs, things like that. So I'm a really big fan of his. This video I'm going to do is a little bit different because I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to relatively quickly, hopefully, tell you how many songs did I choose? I chose 28 songs from his solo career that are my favorite Mick Jagger solo songs. And a special announcement. I've created Spotify playlists for you guys. There's a favorite Mick Jagger solo songs, and I did 3 different Rolling Stones playlists as well. And that's something I'm going to be working on for these other videos that I've done. So now, instead of me just talking about these great songs, you can play them. Pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope you are too. So let's start it. Mick Jagger. Now, David, if you're watching this is never going to work, is it? I think we're going to have a catastrophe, but hopefully not. Number 1, and it's in chronological order pretty much. The very first solo song from Mick Jagger is this very rare 45. Memo from Turner comes from the film Performance. Again, I go into this in a lot of depth on that other video. But this is the original album. Here's the 45 and Memo from Turner. And I was going to say you need to hear it, but you can hear it on the Alan Rosenberg playlist on Spotify. Let's continue. Number 2 was this really cool 45 from Peter Tosh with Mick Jagger. You Got to Walk and Don't Look Back. It was on his Bush Doctor album that was on Rolling Stones Records. Great cover, great song. Number 3. Well, this is just for fun. It's clearly not a great piece of work, but they did it for a good reason, and I'm a really big David Bowie fan, and you can't help but smile that this lightweight song is fun. Dancing in the Street, Mick Jagger and David Bowie, again, not a great artistic piece, but damn, sometimes you just gotta lighten up and say, yeah, that's fun. All right, then we go to his very first solo record, She's the Boss. I like it. It's dated. A lot of this has got a dated 80s sound, but it's still good. What I chose from this, the very first song, is Lonely at the Top. Pretty driving rocker. That's a good one. I also chose, what was the second single? Lucky in Love. Yes, I'm lucky. Yes, I'm lucky. It's just a bouncing song, man. I can't not move and dance around when this is being played. Cool song, Lucky in Love. Then I chose a beautiful ballad from the album. There's the original Height Stipper. Hard Woman. Love that song. That's a beautiful ballad. Had a great video. But This is the original version. There's a video version which actually has the Hooters, but you can't get it on Spotify, and I don't own it because it was never officially released. They should have put it on the very best of Mick Jagger. Hard Woman. And then the fourth song that I choose from this album is the title track called She's the Boss. It's just goofy fun. I just think it's a blast. It's another song that you just can't dance around and just lighten up. It doesn't sound anything like the Rolling Stones. Not supposed to sound like the Rolling Stones. Enjoy it for what it is. Mick Jagger wanted to do something different, and he deserved it, and he did a good job. His second album was called Primitive Cool. The album was a dismal failure because the opening single was Let's Work, which is possibly the worst thing he's ever done. But luckily, there's a lot of other great stuff on the album that's been forgotten, like this track called Throwaway. This was a single. Throwaway is a driving rocker featuring Jeff Beck all over the place. There's a good video of it, too. Throwaway, great track from Primitive Cool. Another song from that album I loved was this one. This was also a single, didn't do anything. Great track called Say You Will. You probably don't know it, but if you listen to it, it's got a little bit of an 80s sound. Look at Mick Jagger's 80s hair there, but it's a killer track, I think. Should have been heard, but it wasn't. But if you check out my Spotify, you'll hear it. Say You Will. Another song from the album, and this is the original album with the hype sticker. There's a song called Kowtow. It started side 2. Really good track. Love the guitar work on there. Check out my playlist. You'll hear that. And the fourth song from the album I chose is one of the great country songs. It's called Party Doll. It's an incredible song. Mick Jagger is an amazing country songwriter and vocalist. The Stones have great country songs and great country rock songs, and his solo albums have a bunch of them. And Party Doll's amazing. Mary Chapin Carpenter did a cover of it. Party Doll. And the last song I chose 5 songs from this album. The last one's called War Baby, which is a really interesting, moody, dark kind of song that's kind of Dire Straits-like, and I always liked it. 5 songs from the second album, Primitive Cool. The third album he did is the classic Wandering Spirit album. It is a great album, and one of the songs I chose was Don't Tear Me Up. Man, this song should be a classic. It's a lost classic. Fantastic song. Don't Tear Me Up. I wanted to put on my playlist a song that's on the CD single called Everybody Knows About My Good Thing, which is an incredible live version from the with Gary Moore. But it's the only place you can get it is on here, and it's not on Spotify. Another track. Oh, man, I didn't bring the album. Hang on 1 second. Live. There you go. Live video. There's the archives right there. Wandering Spirit. I forgot to take the album. This is the songs on there. So far we chose Don't Tear Me Up. The next song is Evening Gown. Remember I said he's an incredible country songwriter? Evening Gown is one of the greatest songs you've never heard in your life. It's an incredible song. It should be an all-time classic. It should be played all the time. And if you listen to it on my Spotify list, you'll hear it. Next song on this album, Mother of a Man. Just a driving rocker. Put on the playlist because I wanted to bounce it around. After that, Angel in My Heart. This kind of Elizabethan harpsichord song. Kind of reminds me almost like Lady Jane. It's a phenomenal song, Angel in My Heart. And the last song, I threw another country song on there, Hang On To Me Tonight. So Wandering Spirit is a killer album, by the way. It's his best solo record by far. All right. After that, he released his 4th solo record. Did I forget that one too? I did. Be back in a second. All right. Got Us in the Doorway. That's the 4th record. So, what did I choose from this album? The opening single was God Gave Me Everything. He did it with Lenny Kravitz. It is a killer driving rocker. Oh my God, should have been a big hit, but it wasn't, but it should have been. Great track. Also from this album, I chose Visions of Paradise. Just a really cool melodic track that I always kind of dug. It was the opening track of the album. Great track. Too Far Gone, another kind of country rock song. Right there at the end of the album, the second to last song. Too Far Gone, great song. And Don't Call Me Up, Another one of those kind of ballads. Got a really nice steel guitar solo in there that he plays. This is a great track. I don't know how these songs were not huge songs. Don't Call Me Up is incredible. And Dancing in the Starlight, another funky kind of pop kind of dance kind of track. Another fine record got us in the doorway. Keith Richards called the dog shit in the doorway. He don't know what he's talking about. It's a fine record. Let's keep going. From the very best of Mick Jagger, he did Too Many Cooks, which was John Lennon was on that. Put that on there as well. And Checking Up on My Baby, which was originally on this bootleg called The Nature of My Game. This is the album that he did with the Red Devils. It's okay. Everybody thought it was an amazing bootleg. It's good. But Checking Up on My Baby is a good one. Then he did the Alfie soundtrack. This guy right there. And on the Alfie soundtrack, there's a great track with Joss Stone. She does most of the work on there. Wicked Time. It is a really cool track that you'll dig. Mick Jagger's on there a bit as well. And then the single from this album was amazing. It's called Old Habits Die Hard. But there's a version on this CD that's got Sheryl Crow duetting with it. And it's better than the regular version. So I put on the playlist a version with Sheryl Crow, Old Habits Die Hard, from the Alfie soundtrack. And then from the Super Heavy collection, I threw on Miracle Worker, which is a good track from this album. This is a really interesting collection. I talked about it a lot in the video that I did, the 30-minute video, but Miracle Worker, that's a really cool track. We are at 27 songs, and there's one other one that I did, and that was this. Now, Gotta Get a Grip was the A-side. I didn't care for that. But the second side was called England Lost. There was a really cool video for it as well. That's a great track, I think. So England Lost is song number 28 that I put on my playlist. I would have put on this guy, Ruthless People. I thought this was a really funky, great track, which was the lead song from the film Ruthless People. Apparently, it's not on Spotify. That's why I collect physical media. But Ruthless People I would have put on there, but it's not. So now, if you can see this, let's see if this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Anyway, go to Spotify. I'm not a Spotify person, but apparently if you go to Spotify and you put in Alan Rosenberg, not the Alan Rosenberg Show, Alan Rosenberg, you will find 4 playlists. You're going to find favorite Mick Jagger solo songs, and then there's 3 Rolling Stones. The Mick Jagger solo song, 28 songs, about 2 hours. I did 3 Rolling Stones ones. The Rolling Stones go-to songs from the 60s, and there's about 19 songs there. And then I did go-to songs 1971 to 1986, 20 songs there. And then I did 1989 to the present, 12 songs there. It's about an hour on that one. What you're going to find on the Stones ones is my go-to tracks. You're not going to find Painted Black. You're not going to find Satisfaction. You're not going to find Sympathy for the Devil. I'm one of the world's biggest Rolling Stones fans, but I don't need to hear those songs. If they come on, I love them, but I'm not putting those on. These are deeper tracks. So this is an interesting listen to you people who only know, those big, big, big songs. You need to hear more from the Rolling Stones. And that's what my purpose was. Anybody can play, Painted Black, but you're out to discover some classics that you may have forgotten and other stuff as well. So there's my video. Happy birthday to Mick Jagger. You are the greatest. God bless you for still doing what you're doing and leading the Rolling Stones and also doing a really interesting solo career. Even if it's underappreciated, it's appreciated by me. And hopefully, if you guys listen to these songs on Spotify, my playlist, favorite Mick Jagger solo songs, you're going to discover some really good stuff that passed you by. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'm excited about this new thing that I'm going to be working on, Spotify, so you could actually hear the songs that I'm talking about from the Kinks and Nils Lofgren and Wishbone Ash, and I'm going to do this in a big way over a period of time. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I will see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.